Helium is an element with important uses in today's society, for example in MRI scanners and in leak detection. To date, all the helium we use has been discovered by accident and in small quantities, popping up as we search for oil and gas. Now, a new approach to helium exploration has led to the discovery of a huge helium gas field in Tanzania. I'm Claire Armstrong and I spoke to Professor John Gluas to find out more.
Helium is the second most common element in the whole universe, but there's very little here on Earth. And when we do find it, it's always been by accident when searching for petroleum gas. So methane that you burn in your cooker, some accumulations of that methane do come along with tiny amounts of helium as well. And it's extracted from that kind of discovery.
So, what have you discovered and what is different about your method of managing to find helium?
The thing that struck me a long time ago is that no helium has been found on purpose, and yet we're very good at finding oil and gas. So could you use a similar sort of approach to find helium? And that's just what we've done. We've looked at the origin of helium, which is very simply from the breakdown of things like uranium and thorium in the crust, and how that helium then migrates to areas where it might get concentrated. And that shares a lot in common with how oil and gas are formed.
What has that enabled you to find? Have you managed to find some more helium?
We have indeed, yes. Working with a small company called Helium One, and backing that we had from Statoil, an oil and gas company, we've been able to high grade a number of areas, and indeed with Helium One have made a discovery of helium within the East African Rift in Tanzania.
What do you think is special about the rocks around that area?
We understand, for example, that you need very old bits of crust. Now, many people will be aware the age of the Earth is about 4.5 billion years old, and some of the crust in Africa is 2-3 billion years old. And since then, the helium has accumulated within the minerals. But as many people also know, the East Africa is where there is a rift. Africa is splitting apart from Asia, and it means it's very hot down there at fairly shallow depths, and that helps drive the helium from the crystals in which it's forming out into, if you like, a gas phase, which we can search for. And so by combining our knowledge of old rocks around the world and volcanic events, heating events, which also occur, we can grade the whole planet as to the likelihood of finding significant helium deposits. Certainly as a gas which you can't artificially manufacture, and a gas which, as soon as you've used it, is so light it escapes the Earth, we keep having to find more. Now we have a method which will allow us to do that.
And the amount of helium that you've found in Tanzania, how does that compare with the amount that's currently being generated by conventional methods?
Early days yet. We think we have a globally significant accumulation, one which might, if it was on its own, supply the world with helium for 6 to 10 years. And if you want to think how many medical MRI scanners it could fill, in excess of 1 million perhaps.
Durham University's John Gluas.